Hi friends, today we're going to make a wonderful soup, our lemon artichoke soup. It's not very difficult to make, but there are a couple of key things that you need to know about this soup. It's very silky smooth, so you have to have two pieces of equipment to make that happen. You either need a Cuisinart or a blender, and then you need something called a chinois. Or you can use a very fine sieve, but this is important to get that silky texture of the soup. If you don't want it, if you don't mind that it's a little bit chunky, then you do not have to use that. So we're going to start here. I've got about 1.5 cups of onions that I've sauteed in a little bit of butter, and you can see they're almost clear and translucent, which is how we always start with our onions. And I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons of flour to this, and we're almost making a roux is what we're doing. And for those of you that have made a roux, what you know is it's a mixture of a fat, and of course we use butter because it makes it taste better. And it looks like I don't have quite enough butter, so we're just going to add a little more butter to that. And then the flour, and you need to let this cook. You're going to keep stirring it, but you need to let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes so we can get the flavor of the raw flour cooked out of it. All right, this is, you can see it's getting lightly browned. You do not want to brown this, but just slightly browned is okay. And I just keep moving it around so it doesn't get burned. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of diced artichoke hearts right into this, okay? If you don't have artichoke hearts, you can use artichoke bottoms as well. They have a wonderful flavor to them. And we're just trying to get a nice light saute on this so all those flavors will meld together. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of white wine to this. That's going to help pull everything off the bottom and deglaze that pan, because all that goodie gets stuck to the bottom. That's what I call it. I call it the goodie. That's what my mother always said. You got to get the goodie off the bottom of the pan. So use a little white wine to do that. And then we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to this, because it's called lemon artichoke soup. So that's how we get the lemon flavor into it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a dash of white pepper, not much. 6 cups of vegetable broth. You can use a chicken broth if you want. We like to use a vegetable broth so this soup stays vegetarian, but if that's not a concern for you, chicken broth is just fine. You just want to use some type of broth, and then we're going to let this cook down for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'm going to show you how we'll run it through the Cuisinart and then through the chinois. And we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we'll be ready to go. All right, so this is starting to get hot. It's about to boil, and I'm going to go ahead and add about 1/2 cup of heavy cream to this. That's what's going to make this soup really yummy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. So, and then after that's done, we will finish the soup, run it through the Cuisinart or the blender, and then we'll run it through the chinois, and we'll have a beautiful lemon artichoke soup. Now, you can see the textures of the artichoke that are in here. If you like that and you want a textured soup, then you do not have to run it through the Cuisinart or the chinois. But I love lemon artichoke soup to be really smooth, almost like a vichyssoise, nice and smooth and elegant. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so this is cooked down. You can see it's reduced by about 1/3, and it's nice and thick. You can see you've got a nice thick consistency. So now we're going to run this through the Cuisinart or a blender, and then we're going to go into the chinois to get our smooth soup. So I'm just going to use this to put into the Cuisinart. We just scoop all of this in. Just want to be careful. It's very hot, so you want to make sure you don't burn yourself. And now I'm just going to pulse it. Again, you want to make sure everything is nice and tight. And so I'm just pulsing it just like this. You might want to take this out to let some of that steam come up. And then we're just going to get it nice and smooth. Doesn't take much, just a little bit. All right. This is what's called a chinois. Some people call it a china cap because it looks kind of like a cap. Or you can use a fine sieve. So I put it into a pitcher like this. And then I'm going to use a ladle. You can use any kind of smooth instrument. You can use a wooden spoon. You can use another spoon. But it just helps you press the liquid into the china cap or the chinois. And you can see it's going to start coming through there, but you're going to have to help it so that you get all the liquid there, and it's going to keep the big pieces behind. So you can see as I start to move it through, it's coming down into the pitcher. So we're just going to do this. It takes a little time and a little patience to do this. So we're going to do this until we get all the soup processed, and then we'll see how nice and smooth it is. So you can see I've pushed most of it through, and you're left with just this harsh part of the artichokes that's not as smooth as we might want it to be. And you can see we have a beautiful soup under here. So now we're going to give it a little taste and see if it needs a little more seasoning, because sometimes at the end you're going to want to add a little more salt and white pepper. So look how beautiful and smooth and silky that is. So let's give it a little taste. It's really, really yummy. It doesn't need a thing. You're going to love this. Just love it. Remember, enjoy cooking, enjoy entertaining, but most importantly, enjoy the experience. Cheers.